leave it to you.
All right. So everybody, I'm Jordan, as Stormy said. And before I get rolling here, I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen so that we can jump right in. And I'm going to turn my video off to ensure that the connection stays all right. So,
and Jordan, I believe everybody has the option to unmute themselves or raise their hand to ask questions or use the chat feature as well. Okay, good. We do encourage you to do that as it kind of comes up. And if you have any login issues, that is something that Haley and I will handle for you. So let us know if you have ran into any of those issues, and we will get them sorted for you in the coming days.
Yes. And as Stormy said, feel free to raise your hand, unmute, jump in, or I'll also try to leave some time at the end for some Q&A. So with that, we will get going. So as Stormy said, I'm a project coordinator with CARES at the University of Missouri Extension. CARES is the Center for Applied Research and Engagement Systems. And we've built data tools for National CAP, as well as several other state community action associations. And so we're really excited to now launch the new Illinois Data Hub. So your data tools are going to be available under this CARES tab on the IACAA website. I know several of you have probably already explored a little bit. Note that these tools are password protected. Each of you or each of your agencies should have a unique username and password. And once you log in, you can access a map room, a needs assessment builder, a poverty report builder, and a resource guide. So I'm already logged in, so we're going to check out the tools. I'm going to give an overview of each tool. The next sessions will go into more of a deep dive. And those sessions will be on April 6th and April 13th at the same time. So be sure to attend if you have any questions. So first, we're going to jump into this community action resource guide. So think of this resource guide as a highly interactive directory. And this directory is comprised of two major parts. So first, we have a list over on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, obviously, we have a map. So first, I'm going to explain the details included in this list, and then I'll show you how to use the map to find specific resources in your area. So in the list, you can find the names of your community action agencies, along with each agency's service area. So service area is going to be right here with area served, their address, and their contact information and website. You will also find under each agency name a list of offered services, and these services are kind of lumped into categories like children's services, financial literacy, and asset development, housing services, and so on. So basically, this is a space, right, where you can find any of that information for any of your community action agencies. And in addition to this interactive space for finding resources, goodness gracious, I'm losing my words. So in addition to just being a resource list, this space is kind of interactive. So let's say we're in Peoria, Illinois, and somebody jump in and correct me if I have brutally mispronounced. And let's say we're working at the Peoria Citizens Committee for Economic Opportunity, right? And for this example, I'm going to go ahead and search for Peoria here. And as you can see, our map, when I searched my location, it filtered down my resource list to my two community action agencies that are near Peoria. So if we want to filter this down even more, because as you can see up here, we are finding community action agencies that are within 25 miles of Peoria. So I have the option to click the drop down and do my 5-mile or 10-mile options. So I'll go ahead and do 5 miles, and notice we've popped down to one location. Now, in addition to just searching a location and finding a community action agency that is nearby, you can also use filter options to find relevant resources. So this is going to be really useful. So say we're providing some assistance at the Peoria Citizens Committee for Economic Opportunity, and we are providing some assistance to some folks applying for utility assistance. And they say, you know, this is really great that you have, you know, this program that is helping me pay for water with LIWAP. But, you know, I really need some assistance with other utility costs as well. And so we want to point them in the direction of a nearby agency offering things like LIHEAP services, right? So to do this really easily, we can use our filter options. So if you click this filter here, we can click energy assistance and weatherization. These filters are going to list, you know, just those larger categories that different community action agencies services are kind of lumped into. And so we can click energy assistance and weatherization, click apply filters. Notice that nothing has changed about our list over here, and that is because our radius is set within 5 miles. So we can expand that once more, let's say to 25 miles. And now we're able to view another agency that has a more robust set of energy assistance and weatherization services. Now, let's say we're looking for LIHEAP services in particular. You are at a community action agency that does not offer this, and you need to send folks to a place that does. And again, you know, I'm using weatherization as an example and energy assistance, but you know, this could apply to anything, whether we are looking for, you know, a food pantry nearby or anything else. So to find LIHEAP in particular, though, what we're going to do is go up to this search bar that is above the list, and we're going to type in LIHEAP. We're going to hit the search. And now note that our Peoria Community Action Agency is gone because it did not have these services listed, but our nearest agency that does offer LIHEAP services is up on the listing. And so you can also X out our location if we want to just see all community action agencies in Illinois that offer LIHEAP services. And as you can see, our map sprung back out and our list readjusted to show us that we have 28 agencies offering these services. And so I encourage you all to jump in and explore, but, oh, sorry, everybody. But for now, I'm actually going to jump over to the next tool here soon. Before I do that though, does anybody have any questions right off the bat about this resource map?
I do, Jordan.
Bring it. All right.
Yeah. So I was wondering if we need to update this with additional services or those kind of things, how often can we do that? And because this is a launch, do we have a little bit of time to get these things updated if, say, we forgot something on the list?
Absolutely. So Stormy, this is something that you and I can talk about too, but I think if we wanted to set up a schedule even for, you know, once every 2 or 3 months, we have a, you know, services check-in or, you know, send out an email or something. And then we do a, an update every 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
I think that is something that could totally be arranged. We have similar arrangements with other groups that have similar resource maps.
Okay. And on this, can we add other nonprofits that are maybe not community action, but that we partner with inside of our network?
Absolutely. And there are 2 ways we could do this. We can add them just underneath these categories. So if there are some partner organizations that are within BCMW's service area, we could list those organizations kind of indiscriminately underneath BCMW, or we have the option to add new points to the map and have separate listings. And what we would do on our end is just make the little logos something different, like a star with a different color.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
And so,
and again, this resource is right now password protected and only for community action agencies inside of the IACAA network, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm done with my questions if anybody else has more.
All right. Does anybody else have questions? Right. Awesome. So as was kind of implied by mine and Stormy's conversation there, this resource guide is not set in stone. So know that, if you notice an error or if you know of a service that needs to be added, CARES is continuing to work with IACAA. So let your state office know, and they will let us know to update this map. So with that, I'm going to jump over to the next tool. Again, today is quick overview because we're trying to hit all 4 tools here. So our next tool in the Data Hub is our needs assessment. Now, while we're loading here, note that the needs assessment is a tool for finding secondary data and creating community needs assessment reports. So this tool has 3 really simple steps. First, you're going to select your location. Second, you're going to select your data indicators. And then third, you're going to generate a report. So we're going to start by selecting our location, and then we'll talk a bit more about what exactly these data indicators even are. So you have the option to select by county or to select by agency region. For our example here, we're going to go ahead and just select by county. Note that multi-county selection is possible. So I'm going to select 2, but you can select way more. I will do Bond County and Clinton County here. So once you have determined your report location, you click the Data Indicators button down here at the bottom right to proceed to the next step. And now we are on to our data page. So the CARES team collects data from reliable secondary sources like the American Community Survey, the CDC, and more. Basically, so that you have a one-stop shop for data for your community needs assessments and for day-to-day research. So a focus group from IACAA helped put together a list of relevant data that should be included in this community needs assessment. So we have nearly 100 different data indicators, and data indicators are just groups of data. So total population, for example, is an indicator. To select all indicators and make a report with all the data we've got, you click the Select All Indicators button. To select a group of indicators by category, you select the checkbox beside a category name. Note that we have this grouped into several categories, including demographics, income and economics, education, and so on. And you also have the option to pick and choose the individual indicators you add to your report by clicking the checkbox beside an individual indicator name. So note that you can learn more about these data before generating a report. So you can click this I button beside an indicator name, and a pop-up is going to appear telling you a few different things. So first is going to be data attributes. So now we know that when we click on total population, for example, we are going to get information on population density total land area, and total population. You'll also get a map of that data, which we'll talk more about our maps here in just a minute. You'll also get a list of supplemental data that is included when you select an indicator. So with most of our indicators, not only are you going to get this general information, you are going to get information on these categories segregated out by things like gender, age, race, and ethnicity. Then always we are going to include information on the data source, a link back to that original data source, and information on the release date. So as some of you guys may know, the 2017 through 2021 5-year estimates for the American Community Survey are our most recent data release from the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey. So note that these data in the community needs assessment are always going to be as up to date as the data source. Our data team has to go through a process and clean and aggregate new data releases. So anticipate when there is a new release, a 2 to 3 week lag. But we always encourage folks, if you do see data that you think might be out of date, though that seldom happens, reach out to your state agency, who can then reach out to us, and we will make that update ASAP. Our team is incredibly fast, and it blows my mind daily. So with that said, though, let's go ahead and select a few indicators. I am going to select some demographic indicators. I am also going to look at our social and economic factors. Again, this is just a glimpse of the indicators we have to offer here. They're around 100. So once you've selected your indicators of choice, we're going to hit this report button at the bottom right. And in this step, the tool does all the work for you. So as you can see, a report is loading here. And down here at the bottom, we have a menu containing every indicator we selected in step 2 that is populating. Now, as that loads, I'm going to hit the X button here to close this out. And we can talk a little bit about this report, though I'm not going to dive in too deep, as that will be our primary focus in the next training webinar. Note for now that your report is going to contain a bold category for every indicator you selected in step 2, beneath which there are going to be some explainer sentences, some reports, or some tables, my bad, that contain info on your aggregate report location, as well as the individual counties within your selected report location. And then we're always going to provide benchmark information for the state and the nation. You're also going to find maps as well as interactive visualizations scattered throughout your report. We will dive more into exploring these visualizations and into some use cases for these reports in the next session. For now, though, I want us to note that these reports are downloadable as PDFs. They are also shareable as links, and they are printable. So before we move on, again, I know we're moving pretty quickly here. Do we have any questions about the community needs assessment? All right. So next, we will go ahead and move to our map room. And note that that pop-up will go away very soon. So similar to the community needs assessment, the map room is a place for finding and visualizing secondary data. There are a few key differences though. So whereas that community needs assessment that we just walked through is particularly useful for creating needs assessment reports and for really finding a large amount of data in one specific area. The map room is going to be more useful for finding smaller amounts of data and comparing it across multiple areas. Also, obviously, with a map room, this is a space for creating spatial representations of data in your area. So if any of you have looked at the training materials, you may note that this map room looks a little different than the one in the training materials provided. Those training materials, I will update them shortly, and those can be distributed if desired. This is just an even more up-to-date version of that map room. The functionality is going to remain the same. So with that, we'll start to explain what exactly this map room does and how it works. So the map room contains around 30,000 secondary data layers. So that needs assessment that we just walked through has about 100 data indicators. If you cannot find data in the community needs assessment, it is very likely in the map room. And these data layers are gathered from around 125 reliable secondary data sources. We have a few different ways we can search for data. Now, once you all begin utilizing the map room, our recently added layers and most used layers are going to populate as lists underneath these headings. But you also have the option to just search by keyword, to browse by topic, or to browse by source. So browsing by topic, for example, our list is not loading. Disaster. Okay. So while our list is trying to load, we will try by keyword. So we will search in the keyword food. And our list is not loading. Cool. Okay. So what we're going to do while this is loading, and my apologies if this is a jarring jump. This is another CARES tool that is for our extension department in particular. And I will show us the map room over here in this tool. Couldn't get this to work yesterday either. Okay, I was able to get it to work yesterday. However, we may be having a server issue, which happens. It hardly ever happens, but it always happens around the time of a demo or presentation, it seems. And so the server connecting to the Illinois map room may be momentarily down on our end. When this happens, our team is usually very good about sending out communications. I have not received one this morning, but anticipate that this issue will be resolved sometime this afternoon at the latest by tomorrow, and then you'll be able to jump in and explore. My sincerest apologies. So for demo's sake, this is what your map room is going to look like and function like. Our Missouri map room lives on a separate server, and we can still look at data in Illinois in this Missouri map room. So you are going to have the option to browse by topic, and our topics are going to be grouped into these large categories: civic, social, economic, education, environment, health. And you guys will not have this local data collection option yet, though if this is a need that arises, we can create some customized features. So for now, let's drill down on, let's say, education. And Say we are interested in education attainment. We want to look at all students. And now note that we have a lot of data here related to education attainment. One reason why we have such a large amount of data in this map room is because we keep old data too. So if you want to think about changes over time within a certain data category, the map room is the place to explore that. For now, we are going to look at population with a bachelor level degree. Note that this data loads automatically onto your map. So you have the option to add multiple map layers, though we will just start with one for now and explore it a little bit. So I'm going to click this button on the left-hand side to get rid of my menu bar here. And now we can kind of dive in. So first things first, we are looking at the state of Illinois from a kind of eagle's eye view right now, but I want to look at Springfield in particular. So you can zoom in with your mouse, or you can use the plus and minus buttons here. Alternatively, you can use this search bar down at the bottom right. So with this search bar, you can search in a county name, a city or town name, or even a zip code. For us right now, we will just type in Springfield. And this isn't a very interesting map yet, and I will show you why. So to learn more about your map layer that you have pulled up, you click the layer button on the left-hand side of the screen. This is going to provide you with your legend for your map. So as you can see, our population where over 15% of folks have a bachelor's level degree or higher is going to be in this red color. So rock and roll Springfield. But right now we are viewing this at the county level. And you can know this too by clicking on your map. And when you click on your map, it is going to highlight the area that you clicked and give you some additional information. So we're looking at Sangamon County, and it is going to give you the actual number of folks with a bachelor degree population, as well as the percent of error in that original or the margin of error. That is what that MOE means in the data collection. When available, when we're looking at things that are measured by percent, the pop-ups are usually going to tell you things like your actual total and the margin of error in that initial data collection process. Notable too is that similar to that community needs assessment, there's always going to be an I button that you can press to learn more about a data layer. So we're always going to have a data description, some information on this data's release date, its release cycle, and information on its original source. Something magical about this new map room is that citation information is also included in these source descriptions. And so this is really handy if you are using a map room image for a report. Folks tend to use these for a wide array of things, from supplementing grant applications to supplementing presentations or just for day-to-day research. But let's get back to the fact that this map in Springfield is not very interesting yet, right? And that is because we're looking at it at the county level. So to change this, we can click on geography on our dropdown and note that this data is available at several different geography levels, including place. So place is typically going to be city or town, census tract, congressional and Senate and House districts, school districts, and zip codes, and more. So for now, let's look at these at the zip code level. Now we have a much, much more interesting map, right? We can see that within this part of Springfield itself, our bachelor level degree is actually much lower. And as always, we can click on the map. It's going to highlight the area we clicked, and we can learn more about this area. So you might have also noticed that we have the option to look at data types. So we're looking at percentage of population with a bachelor level degree right now. You can also view total, and you're going to get a new map. Now, this map room is incredibly, incredibly robust, and it takes a bit of time to get the swing of it and to learn just how handy it is to apply to day-to-day tasks, right? Like I said, grant applications, presentations, and so on. Something that we are going to focus heavily on in this third webinar is how to customize these maps. So I will go ahead and tell you all that a few special features include the ability to export map data as a CSV. So to take map data that is represented spatially on your map and turn it into an Excel file or a table. We also have several tools for customizations. So for highlighting certain areas for a presentation, so that say we're only looking at Springfield and not these surrounding areas. The ability to draw on your map, to query data in your map. So to take an area and say, you know, I want to target zip codes that have very low education attainment rates. And I want to use this to supplement and justify an application for funding for a project to help boost education levels in a certain area, right? We will talk more about tools within this map room that can help you do that. So for now, though, do we have any questions about the general functionalities of this map room or about the data? Or if you have more specific questions, I'm happy to jump in. All right. So before we move away from the map room, I will note a few other things. Primarily, that we have the ability to stack layers on top of each other. So let's say we are looking at our education attainment here, and we have looked at our population with a bachelor level degree, and this is our most up-to-date data. It is for 2017 to 2021. And we want to see how it compares to 2014 through 2018. Now note that these dates, as well as the geography levels, do depend on the data source, right? We are able to publish the data and the dates that different data sources like the US Census Bureau collect. And so So what we're going to do now is we're going to add both of these layers to the map. They've automatically populated. We can go to our layer tab to see that. To delete a layer, you just click this ... and remove. And now we have our population with a bachelor level degree from 2014 to 2018 and from 2017 to 2021. You can drag and drop these layers to stack one over the top of the other. You can also, I'll go ahead and highlight one tool that is really fun, and it is our swipe layer tool. And so it is very great for demo purposes when you are trying to demonstrate, how an area's data has changed over time. So as you can see here, Our top layer is going to be our most recent data, the 2017 through 2021, while this bottom layer is going to be that 2014 through 2018. And so we can see that in our county down here, so in Christian County, our number of, or our percent of population that has a bachelor's degree has increased. So, and again, we can do this with any of these layers. We can do this with access to food. We can do this with medical behaviors. We can do this with housing, with poverty rates. All those data, they're a click away. And so we can say, you know, this is great. This got better. You know, what changed? What did we do here? And what can we continue to do? What can we do in other areas that may need similar assistance that was done here? And so, like I said, this map room is an excellent research tool. And my apologies again for the funkiness happening in the Illinois map room. It will be up and running very shortly. These maps are exportable, so you can download them as a PDF or PNG. You can also share them as a link. And so you can copy a link to share in emails, or you can easily share them on social media at the click of a button. So before we move on from this map room, are there any additional questions? Okay. So our final tool is the poverty report. So unlike the needs assessment and the map room, which are spaces for exploring a wide array of community level data, this poverty report is going to give you a quick kind of set amount of data. So I'll show you how it works, and then this will make a little bit more sense. You're going to have the option to select a county. And so for our purposes, let's select Douglas County here. As soon as you select a county, a report is going to generate. This report is downloadable, and when you download it, it's about 2 pages. So folks tend to use these reports as handouts or as means of gauging or kind of getting a quick overview of where things lie within their county or their area. So we can kind of walk through the anatomy of this poverty report together. Always, you're going to be given the Community Action Agency region for the area that you selected. Then you are going to have a small map with your location that you selected highlighted in red. And then we're going to have the poverty rate in bright red underneath that map. Always, we're going to give the total county population or location population. And then we're going to break that population out into population under 18, 25 and over, 65 and over, and so on. And then you're going to get information on the population living in poverty. You're going to get a percent and a total. Then you're going to have information on total households in poverty within that selected area. In addition to that total, these numbers are going to be broken down by race and ethnicity. And then we also have an additional data set that is going to be added, the ALICE data, and it is going to show up down here within the next month. So on the right side of this report, we have a few different things going on. First, we're going to have this category, this education and poverty. So in this category, we're going to have data on the total education attainment for the total population, 25 and up. So we're going to get our percent of folks with no degree, with a high school degree, associate, bachelor's, or higher. And then right next to it, we're going to have these data for the population living in poverty. So percent of folks in poverty in this area with no degree, with no high school degree, or with a high school degree, with an associate's degree, and so on. Now our section employment and poverty is going to be a little different. In this section, what we're going to have is we're going to have our living wage for one adult and one child in this area. And then we're going to have the hourly wage required for a fair market rate 2-bedroom apartment. Then we're going to get our median income, our median income for population with a high school diploma, male median earnings, and female median earnings. Next, we're going to be able to view median household income by race and ethnicity. And note that this is really nice because it allows you to look at change over time. Then we're going to have some health insurance and poverty information. Our gender and poverty information. And always we're going to highlight the percent of families with female heads of household and children present that are living in poverty. We're going to have some information on race, ethnicity, and poverty, and children in poverty. And coming soon is going to be a section talking specifically about infrastructure access in particular. Access to broadband, to at-home computers, and to internet providers. And so we have a question in the comments here. Can you possibly share with me why ages 19 to 24 years of age is not reported on? Absolutely. And so this is an unfortunate flaw in the data collection, which again, right, CARES is not a data collector, we are a data aggregator. We can chat about this actually here in a second. So I'm going to stick a pin in this and be thinking about this, everyone. If this 19 through 24 is really important to your work, we want to know, and we can kind of brainstorm some solutions on our end for updating this report accordingly. We may have to get a little creative because, again, this is a flaw in the data collection system. One additional thing to note, though, before we continue on, is that this report is exportable as a PDF. And so whatever county you select, that report is going to look the same, but the data is going to be customized according to your service area. We also have the options to create a report for the state of Illinois as a whole, for the United States as a whole, and to get a comparative look at poverty levels in each county. And so this is just going to be a very large table, giving you number in poverty, rank by number, percent in poverty, and rank by percent. And you are going to be able to access a data key. So what this data key is it is going to be formatted very similarly to that actual report that we were looking at, but instead of data by location, it is going to give you some information on the sources and the methods used to gather those data that are in each category. And so with that, I think we have plenty of time here for some questions. So does anybody have any questions about the Data Hub? All right. If we don't have questions, I have a question for you all. How are we feeling about this? Are we feeling like, okay, I think I can jump in and do this? Or are we feeling a little overwhelmed? Or are we feeling quiet? Okay. I will say, in case there is a sense of overwhelm, play with these tools. They will not break. So get in, poke around, select your counties and your service areas, and start exploring. Like I said, in our next sessions, we are going to talk a bit more about these special features available, in particular in that needs assessment and the map room. And we are also going to go through some specific use cases so that we can start to get a better feel for how these can be applied to your day-to-day work to streamline data collection and presentation processes. And so with that, I'm going to stop the recording